You did everything they told you to do. You paid attention in class, you got the degree, you landed the respectable job with the supposed benefits, and you pay your bills on time. You are playing by the rules. You are doing everything society considers responsible and correct. So why does it feel like you are running on a treadmill that someone keeps secretly speeding up? Why does the finish line of financial freedom keep moving further and further away, no matter how many extra hours you put in or how many promotions you desperately chase? The exhaustion you are feeling right now, that quiet anxiety when you look at your bank account at the end of the month, isn't because you lack discipline. It isn't because you do not have a strong work ethic or because you are not smart enough. It is because you are operating on severely outdated financial software. You are living your entire life by a set of money lies cleverly disguised as common sense. The middle class is not struggling by accident. They are struggling because they are perfectly following a script written by a system that desperately needs them to remain exactly where they are. But before we tear down that script and look at the uncomfortable truth behind how money actually works, I am genuinely curious about who is watching this right now. Financial frustration is a universal phenomenon, and this community spans across the entire globe. So take a quick second, drop down into the comments, and tell me where in the world you are watching from. I always love seeing how far this message reaches and how many people are waking up to this reality. And while you are down there, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and leave a like on this video. Doing that arms you with the knowledge you need to protect yourself against the financial traps designed to keep you stuck, and it tells the algorithm that you are serious about changing your future. Let us start by dismantling the most sacred cow of the middle-class dream, the ultimate milestone, the belief that your primary residence is your greatest financial asset. We are conditioned from birth to view buying a house with a 30-year mortgage as the absolute pinnacle of financial success. You get the keys, you take the smiling picture for social media, and you genuinely believe you are now building real wealth. But let us look at the cold, hard math, not the emotional sentiment attached to a white picket fence. An asset, by the truest and most functional definition, puts money into your pocket every single month without your physical labor. A liability takes money out of your pocket. Your primary residence, as beautiful and comforting as it might be, requires property taxes, constant maintenance, insurance premiums, HOA fees, and massive amounts of mortgage interest. It is constantly, relentlessly pulling capital away from you. It acts as a financial anchor. The wealthy understand a fundamental difference here. They buy cash-flowing assets first. They buy businesses, dividend-paying equities, or real estate that other people rent from them. Then, they use the passive income generated from those actual assets to pay for the roof over their own heads. When you tie up all of your liquidity and all of your future earning potential in the house you live in, you are not building wealth. You are simply locking your money in a very expensive, illiquid piggy bank that actually costs you money to maintain. You become house rich and cash poor. You become terrified to lose your job, terrified to take a career risk, and terrified to speak up, because that massive liability requires constant feeding. Your home is a wonderful place to live, but treating it as your primary wealth-building vehicle is the first major lie keeping you trapped. And what about the money you do manage to keep away from the mortgage? The second massive lie is the belief that hoarding money in a traditional bank account is how you build wealth. Your parents and grandparents probably told you to save your pennies for a rainy day. That advice worked beautifully in a completely different economic era, a time when interest rates actually outpaced the cost of living. Today, it is financial suicide. Imagine working incredibly hard, trading hours of your precious life to buy a giant block of ice. We equate a large paycheck with actual wealth. But wealth and income are two entirely different concepts. A high salary is just a bigger shovel. It does not mean you are actually digging a deeper well. Many of these high-earning professionals are essentially high-paid poor people. They make $250,000 a year, but they spend $240,000 of it maintaining the lifestyle that society expects someone in their position to have. They lease the luxury cars because a doctor shouldn't drive a Honda. They send their kids to the elite private schools. They take the extravagant vacations to decompress from the immense stress of their jobs, all to look the part. Their monthly income is massive, but their actual net worth, what they truly own minus what they owe, is terrifyingly fragile. If the high-paying job disappears tomorrow, or if they suffer a burnout and simply cannot perform at that elite level anymore, they are bankrupt in 3 months because their overhead is so enormous. They confuse the cash flowing through their hands with wealth that actually stays. True wealth is not measured by how much you make. It is measured by time. It is measured by how long you could survive, maintaining your current standard of living if you stopped working completely today. For most of the middle class, even the upper middle class, with the 6-figure salaries, that answer is measured in weeks, not years. They are trapped on a golden hamster wheel, running faster than anyone else, but still going absolutely nowhere. To maintain that illusion of wealth, people often interact with debt in completely the wrong way. The fourth lie we are constantly fed is a rigid, black and white rule. All debt is inherently evil and must be avoided or paid off as quickly as humanly possible. Financial gurus have built massive empires telling people to cut up their credit cards, live on rice and beans, and fear debt like the plague. And look, for someone with a severe spending addiction who cannot control their impulses, that might be necessary survival advice. But if you want to actually build generational wealth, you have to break this simplistic, childlike thinking. The wealthy do not fear debt. They respect it, and they use it as a highly calibrated tool. There is a massive, life-altering difference between consumer anchors and strategic leverage. Consumer debt is using a credit card at 24% interest to buy a depreciating liability. It is financing a designer watch, a vacation you cannot afford, or a new television. That is a brutal tax on your future time. You are literally selling your future hours to buy a momentary thrill today. But strategic leverage? That is borrowing money at 5% to buy an asset that yields 10%. It is using other people's money to multiply your own resources. Real estate investors, business owners, and major corporations all use debt to scale their operations significantly faster than they ever could by just saving their own capital. Furthermore, in an inflationary environment, fixed-rate debt is actually paid back with cheaper dollars over time. When you blindly fear all debt, you strip yourself of one of the most powerful wealth-building mechanisms ever created. You end up using only your own limited energy and your own limited capital, while the wealthy are using the bank's money to literally buy back their time. Of course, the system tells you that the way to get more of your own capital to invest is simply to get more education. This is the fifth lie, the absolute, unquestioning faith in the educational complex. From a very young age, we are told that acquiring another degree, another certification, another master's program automatically equals more job security and a substantially higher income. So millions of well-intentioned people take out crushing, unforgivable student loans to fund degrees that have absolutely no market demand. We are living through an era of massive credential inflation. A bachelor's degree today is essentially worth what a high school diploma was worth 30 years ago. It is merely the baseline. It is no longer a differentiator. Yet, the middle class keeps falling for the sunk cost fallacy. You get a degree in a field you eventually realize you hate, you discover it does not pay a living wage, and instead of pivoting and learning a high-income skill in the real marketplace, you go back to the safety of the classroom. You take on more debt to get a master's degree in that exact same useless field, hoping a slightly fancier piece of paper will magically fix the economic reality of your profession. Education is incredibly vital, but institutionalized schooling is often just a very expensive holding pen that delays your entry into the real world. The market does not care how many letters are after your name. The market does not care how hard you studied or how prestigious your university was. The market only cares about the magnitude of the problems you can solve. If you can solve big, complex, expensive problems for people or companies, you will be paid handsomely. Whether you learned how to do it in an Ivy League lecture hall, or from obsessively watching tutorials in your basement. But let us say you do figure it out. You acquire a valuable skill, you get a decent income, and you are ready to move forward. Now you face the sixth lie, which is incredibly insidious because it sounds so responsible. The waiting game. How many times have you told yourself, or heard a friend say, that they will start investing when they just have a little bit more money left over at the end of the month? Think about the phrases we use. I will start investing when I get that promotion. I will start when the car is finally paid off. I will start when the kids are out of expensive daycare. You are waiting for the perfect moment. But the perfect moment is a ghost. It does not exist, and it never will. By waiting for a large, comfortable sum of money to magically appear in your checking account, you are entirely destroying the mathematical magic of compound interest. Compound interest does not care about how much money you make, it cares deeply and obsessively about how much time you give it to work. A 20-year-old aggressively investing $50 a month will often absolutely crush a 40-year-old trying to play catch-up by investing $500 a month. The math is brutal to those who wait. The middle class views investing as an event, something you do when you are already rich, or something you do when all your other financial problems are perfectly solved. The wealthy view investing as a process, the very mechanical habit that makes them rich in the first place. Every single day you wait for the stars to align, you are burning the most valuable asset you have in the wealth-building equation, which is your time. You do not need to be wealthy to invest, but you absolutely must invest to become wealthy. The habit matters far more than the initial amount. To compensate for this lost time and the feeling of falling behind, people usually turn to the seventh lie. The glorification of hustle culture. Society loves a hard worker. We romanticize the grind. We applaud the early mornings, the late nights, the double shifts, and the side hustles that consume every waking weekend. We are fed the persistent lie that hard work alone makes you rich. But look around you with open eyes. The hardest working people in our society, the construction workers breaking their backs in the sun, the nurses doing grueling 12-hour shifts, the single parents juggling 3 different jobs just to keep the lights on, they are rarely the wealthiest. If raw, physical hard work alone equaled wealth, the entire hierarchy of the world would look very different. The trap here is that you are simply trading hours for dollars. No matter how hard you hustle, no matter how much caffeine you consume, your income is permanently capped by the physical reality of the universe. There are only 24 hours in a day. You need to sleep, you need to eat, you need to breathe. If your money is tied directly to your physical presence and your personal exertion, you will eventually hit a ceiling you simply cannot break through. Escaping the middle class requires pivoting away from trading time for money and moving toward scalable income. It is about building systems. It is about creating digital products, investing in software, utilizing media, or owning equity in businesses where the income is completely decoupled from your time. You want to reach a point where you can earn money while you are sleeping, while you are on a beach, or while you are simply staring at a wall. Hard work is the prerequisite. Yes, absolutely. But hard work directed at the wrong vehicle is just a fast track to exhaustion and burnout. And what happens when that exhausting hard work actually does result in a financial win, like a raise or a year-end bonus? Enter lie number 8. The gente won the race to wealth. Enter lie number 8, better known in financial circles as lifestyle inflation. This is the quietest, deadliest killer of middle-class wealth. It happens so subtly, you do not even notice it. You get a promotion that pays you an extra $1,000 a month. You feel great. But suddenly, your perfectly fine, reliable car feels a little old, so you upgrade to a newer model with a higher payment. Your apartment feels a little cramped, so you move to a nicer building with better amenities. You start buying the expensive organic groceries. You eat out at slightly nicer restaurants. You buy better clothes. Within 6 months, that extra $1,000 has completely vanished into your new baseline standard of living. You are making significantly more money than you ever have in your entire life, yet you feel just as broke and stressed as you did 5 years ago. These are the invisible golden handcuffs. The middle class uses increased income to buy a better lifestyle immediately. The wealthy use increased income to buy more assets, which then buy them a better lifestyle much later. When you immediately absorb every financial win into your daily expenses, you are literally eating your seed crop. You are consuming the very capital that was meant to be planted to buy your ultimate freedom. Saying, "I deserve this treat because I worked hard," is exactly how you ensure you will have to keep working hard for the rest of your natural life just to afford those treats. You are building a prison of your own desires. But deep down, many people subconsciously accept this endless cycle of working and spending because of lie number 9. The dangerous passive assumption that someone else will eventually take care of you. We desperately want to believe in the safety net. We trust that the government, Social Security, or a corporate pension will magically step in when we are too old, too sick, or too tired to work anymore. This is a terrifying delusion. We are looking at a global demographic time bomb. Populations are aging rapidly, birth rates are declining sharply, and the basic math behind these massive entitlement programs is fundamentally broken. There are fewer workers supporting more retirees every single year. Relying on a politician's promise or a modern corporation's loyalty for your basic survival in your later years is placing your life in the hands of entities that view you as nothing more than a liability on a spreadsheet. Corporations have spent the last 4 decades systematically dismantling pension plans, replacing guaranteed defined benefits with 401ks that shift all the market risk directly on. In a world that is changing at breakneck speed, taking zero risks is actually the most dangerous risk you can possibly take. The safe corporate job you rely on can be eliminated by an algorithm, automated by artificial intelligence, or outsourced to another country in a matter of weeks. The safe fiat currency you hoard is being devalued by aggressive monetary policy. The safe career path you chose is being disrupted by technologies that didn't even exist 5 years ago. When the ground beneath you is shifting this violently, standing perfectly still guarantees that you will fall. Wealth is generated by taking calculated, asymmetric risks. It is about starting the side business when you are tired. It is about investing in an unfamiliar asset class after doing deep research. It is about moving to a new city for a massive opportunity, or speaking up in a meeting with a highly disruptive idea. Yes, you might fail. In fact, you probably will fail at some point, but the cost of temporary failure is microscopic compared to the devastating, soul-crushing cost of a lifetime of guaranteed mediocrity. Playing it safe is an illusion. It is a comforting lie sold to you by an industrial system that needs obedient, compliant workers, not bold, independent thinkers. When you step back, take a breath, and look at all 10 of these lies collectively, a profound and somewhat unsettling realization starts to form in your mind. The financial system is not broken. It is not failing. It is not glitching. It is functioning exactly as it was designed to function from the very beginning. It is a beautifully engineered, highly efficient machine designed to keep the middle class producing labor and consuming products. It needs you to take out the massive mortgage. It needs you to finance the car you can't afford. It needs you to spend your raise immediately, and it needs you to keep your money in the bank so they can lend it out to the wealthy at a massive profit. The system is working perfectly. It just wasn't built to benefit you. Escaping this cycle doesn't require extreme luck, and it doesn't even require a genius-level intellect. What it requires is a deliberate, intentional, and often highly uncomfortable act of unlearning. You have to actively purge everything society, your parents, your teachers, and the media taught you about money, because their advice was designed for a world that simply no longer exists. You have to reprogram your mind before you can rebuild your bank account. So, I want to leave you with a powerful question to sit with today. Do not just brush past this. Really think about it. Look at your bank statements from the last 3 months. Look at your daily calendar. Look at your spending habits. If you change absolutely nothing about how you interact with money right now, where will you be in exactly 10 years? Will you be financially free, waking up, and doing exactly what you want to do? Or will you just be running on a slightly faster, slightly more expensive treadmill, feeling even more exhausted than you do today? The choice is entirely yours, and the clock is ticking. If this message woke something up inside of you, if it gave you that uncomfortable, but absolutely necessary reality check, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now and hit the notification bell. Like this video, so the algorithm knows you are serious about changing your financial trajectory, and so we can push this message to more people who need to hear it. Thank you for giving me your time, your focus, and your attention all the way to the very end of this video. In a world full of distractions, I do not take your attention lightly. Now, go out there, question the rules you have been blindly following, and start building the freedom you actually deserve.